Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of our Medieval Total War campaign as the French, where today we are trying to hold on to our possessions in the Holy Land and actually retake one which we lost. This is Antioch. This is the first Crusader state that we formed, and we just lost it recently to the Turks, so we're sending a crusade to take it back. This crusade has suffered a fair amount of attrition moving through Anatolia. We lost probably 1,000 men from our peak somewhere in, I don't know, somewhere around here, I think, around Hungary, where we were up around 2,000 or higher. And just moving through Orthodox territory caused a lot of desertion this time around. And we haven't had to fight anything yet, but we're down to just over 1,000 men. We are invading Antioch, which has not a lot, just 320. There is a single one-star governor here, or a general here, who has both the natural leader and eager to retreat traits, which cancel each other out perfectly. Natural leader giving +2 morale, +1 loyalty. Eager to retreat giving exactly the reverse. So I'm not too worried about him. And in fact, there's not a lot of very good Turkish governors or generals in the area. This guy has 2 stars. That's about as good as we can do. The Sultan has 2, but he is a good runner, so that's -3 morale. We do have this guy, who is utterly fearless, +2 morale, but he doesn't have any command. So what I'm curious about is, when we invade here, are we going to get reinforcements moved in from Syria? What I'm going to do to sort of protect against that is move up this force of just reinforcements from Tripoli. Just some odds and ends that I thought I could spare. Tripoli is, of course, the main event. We need to get a citadel here before the year 1200. We're almost done with a castle, and then we need to spend 4,000 florins, which is almost all that we have, to start working on the citadel, which will take, I think, 16 years. And we need to hold on until that's finished, and, of course, keep it in order to get the points. But I also want to take Antioch, because the more of the Turkish territory that we hold, the safer Tripoli will be. So let's just end the year here and see how they respond to that. If they're going to withdraw, if they're going to bring in reinforcements, we're going to have to fight. Alright, they move the king in, and that probably means we're going to get it without a fight. Perfect. All right, I don't know what they were thinking there, but because the king was involved, they figured that, their only move was to either go to the keep, in which case the army will try to get their best troops in. That's going to include the ranking general, who in this case is the Sultan. So the AI will never do that. If their king, the faction leader, is, present and they want to withdraw from a province, they will withdraw everything rather than move their king and get him trapped in a castle. So we got it outright without a fight. We've completed the crusade. Great. Tripoli has finished the castle, and some traits here. All right, some decent traits for our Lord of Ypres, and we have completed another crusade for Antioch. Now, I'm pretty sure this does not add on to the 3 points that we got earlier. I could be wrong about that. Yes, it says, well, I don't know. It doesn't say that the points are only counted once. I don't know, but we are considered to have 3 points here, so maybe that is counted twice. Now we're actually in the lead with that successful crusade. Kind of surprising. But we will have another big chance to count in the year 1175, which is quite a ways off, but that'll be the next homelands check. And interestingly here, the only one that we don't have currently is Aquitaine. I believe Edessa was there. I could be wrong about that, but Edessa is not a homeland of ours anymore. It is still a valid crusade target for another 50 years or so. But the only homeland we don't have is Aquitaine. So, we may want to eventually give some thought to this, because this would be, of course, very nice to have. It does look like the English are going to be making another move for it, and so I'm not too eager to get involved in that whole mess just yet. But I am going to take my princess here. Okay, where? I could have sworn we had another princess. Yes. Princess Eleanor is moving off to Navarre. The purpose of that is to see what is here. We think that's probably still the Spanish But it's nice to know, like it says here, okay, you can hover over a province and it'll tell you most of the time. But it'll be good to have eyes there, because if there's, let's say, a Spanish Civil War precipitated by, let's say, an Almohad invasion of Spain, this may become a rebel province, which may put it in play for Aragon, and it may be something that sort of sets off a different balance of power in the area. So that'll be good to keep an eye on. We do have Princess Constance, so let's get her out into the world as well. And I think it might be nice to see what's going on in Rome. Let's just get somebody up there, and we can put our emissary maybe in Anatolia for now. He'll be at a port province there, so we can move around pretty easily. Now, we've got 5,665 florins in the bank. We are actually expecting to make a profit this turn, 123. I'm very surprised by that, but I think it just speaks to the wealth of Antioch. This is currently making us, 515. So we can afford to just sit tight here. We could go for a fort, but first I'm going to queue up the all-important citadel, 4,000 florins, 16 years. Let's see if we can do it, the crack de Chevalier. So I think I'm not going to do anything there for a turn, and we'll just wait, because a fort in Antioch is not going to save us anyway. We'll see what the Turks do. Maybe we can actually get peace with them. We've been trying so far without success to get peace with the Egyptians, but in the previous episode they did send an emissary to us with a peace offer, which we denied because at the time we had a crusade headed toward Palestine. Now that Palestine is taken, I don't want war with the Egyptians, right? I would be just fine getting peace with them and trading. And the same is almost true of the Turks, although I wouldn't mind getting that point for the crusade in Edessa, and I would also kind of like to take Syria at some point. Now, you could argue that I should have done that long ago, and I could just, crusade for it right now, but I like to do this a little, role-play friendly. We'll do the historical Outremer, narrow line of coastal provinces that we have to defend, and that'll be that. Because our finances, though, are fairly tight with that citadel lined up, I don't think I want to do anything else. I think we will just... actually, the one thing we want to do is check for loyalty. Okay, all of that... Okay, that's not so good. We'll just swap you out. Alright, or maybe even just disband you altogether. Okay, much better. And we could give Prince of Antioch to somebody here. Not you there, Sir Jeancourt. Maybe you'll be a nice candidate for an older princess, if I have any. Not for quite some time, but we'll just keep an eye on his loyalty for the moment. Do we have any big... Okay, Sir Henry Poitevin could be a good candidate for Antioch. Charles Amiot, he's a blackmailer, he's famously brave. Let's give it to Henri. He's loyal, he's got a killer instinct. He does have pride, that's hurting his acumen, though. Maybe that is a bad sign. Okay, Charles Amiot, we'll give it to you. Oops. And that'll be nice because, maybe his loyalty will be questionable in the future, and we'll just have that extra 2 points as insurance. Okay, big attack in Antioch. Alright, so, Selim II. He is a good runner, I believe. So that's good. Sir Jeancourt is relatively untried. But we do have the slight advantage in that at least we don't have that negative trait. Our reinforcements are pretty weak. And his are fairly strong. At least he's got some fairly strong units eventually. Lots of those camels, got some horse archers he could bring in. And he does have just masses of peasants he could throw at us. But the one thing that I'm very happy not to see is a bunch of Armenian heavy cavalry. The only unit they had, there's 6 men left in this unit here. This is a great unit, and we had to face a lot of them earlier, but I think we took out most of their production. So that's good. This should be a relatively normal Turkish battle where there's going to be lots of skirmishing. So we'll get these guys ordered up and then see you on the battlefield. Okay, so we've brought in a few archers. We've only got 3 reasonably sized units of foot archers here. We do have 40 mounted crossbowmen, and we've got 40 Knights Templar here, as well as 18 in the bodyguard unit, 20 Royal Knights as well. A lot of infantry, which is, you know, kind of nice if the Turks ever close for battle, but they probably won't until the very last minute. So what I want to find is some decent ground where we can, you know, just hide out, I guess, while their arrows are shooting at us. I always like to check out these houses, too. It is pretty cool, just the little decorations they had. Although this house looks fairly out of place in the middle of this battlefield, but... Let's see. I mean, I guess we could set up on this hill in the woods. But that's, you know, a hindrance to me as well. I could go right here. We can't get up on that nice big hill. I mean, we could, but we'd have to move to do it. Well, we do want to play kind of a long game here. So I guess being here is not the worst thing in the world, although the catapult, you know, the catapult is going to be not very useful, but that's alright. It just came along for the ride. We didn't build it. Maybe it was a merc unit, but I can't recall. So we'll just set it to fire at will. We'll forget about it. If they target it with their bows, as they may, then fine, and we'll have some reinforcements to bring up, although our reinforcements are not ideal. But we're going to go ahead and get our main body here in the woods. So they're probably going to, you know, flank around us. I guess that is a concern, too. But we've got archers of our own. We're just going to have to deal with it. So Bulgarian brigands, I think, outside. Or at least on a flank somewhere, because they can be a decent melee unit. So maybe I'll put them, like, here. We'll put the mounted crossbowmen there as well. And then I want to have these units. We've got these malicious sergeants, which are, you know, not awesome against the Turks because they're pretty vulnerable to missiles. They do have armor, but they strike me as a pretty vulnerable unit. I brought them, though, because we don't really have much else. So we'll just have them there, where the trees will be some protection, and we'll start setting up our spears. So Italian infantry. Okay, and then we've got swordsmen who can also play a role. Alright, and then the cavalry, maybe back here. If we can get both of them hiding, that would be great. Let's see that little tree symbol show up. Okay, so the Royal Knights are hiding. Templars are concealed. Okay, so I think that's everybody now. Let's begin the battle. Let's change where the flag is going to be for reinforcements. That's going to be pretty much next to the general. What are you doing? Okay, why are you guys moving? I don't understand this. I don't know why they moved there. Maybe it has something to do with placing the reinforcement flag. Okay, though, looking at this, their only really scary infantry is this. And then they've got their Gulam bodyguards. Everything else is, like, very light horse archers or actual archers or light infantry that we'll be able to work with pretty well. Alright, now I wonder if this is an actual retreat or one of those feigned retreats. Keep an eye on them. It could be genuine, because horse archers do have low morale. And they were unsupported, they were under relatively heavy arrow fire. I want to know where that catapult is going to come down. Alright, took out that unlucky guy. Yeah, the horse archers did come back. Now, that would not have been the most successful feigned retreat, probably, because, you know, that would have led us over to this hill where there are no units. So they're going to push our archers back. That's alright, because we've got spears right here. And we've got, of course, our cavalry and infantry. Alright, another route. That one may be legit. And it may be permanent. We'll see if they come back. Alright, they did come back. But there's only 13 of them. Here, though, it's going to be a lot longer because of these trees. You can see we're taking almost no losses, and the same is true for them. This feels like a bait, though. Marching quickly to get us to chase them. Okay. And you can do feigned retreats, of course. You can tell your guys individually to route, and that will read as though they are running away. One problem of fighting in the trees, I'm realizing, is when your archers back up, that does change your formation potentially, because they can be marching into a space occupied by your infantry, and then the trees too are kind of an obstacle. Alright, but yeah, those Turkmen horse came back. So we'll just see how long they're going to do this. Okay, so this unit's running a bit low on arrows. What we have for backup in the first wave is a lot of cav. Specifically light cav, I think it's Hobilars, then another full unit of mounted crossbows, then more Hobilars. So the first 4 units are all cav. They're not all full units, but you know, they could at least be helpful. But the problem is these guys have a lot of arrows left, and horses make big targets. Still, I think they were the best I have. I don't have a lot of archers. Alright, nice. So that was a retreat, and then they changed their mind and came back. There's that Saracen infantry. And actually, we can bring the catapults back. I should have noticed that sooner. Okay, so these archers are still relevant. Alright, if they want to come over, you know, we will be able to shoot them with our crossbows. They're going to do better in that exchange. And we can push them. I don't know that we want to catch them necessarily. They've got like 3 Valor. Or 2 to our 1. But let's do it. Those mounted crossbows weren't doing a whole lot anyway. And it looks like we are now getting to the main event. It'd be nice to have that left kind of taken care of. Right, haven't caught him yet. Good, here comes the rain. Alright. Still not really in melee with those horse archers. Just have to hope they deal with it. The Bulgarian brigands are going to stay on the battlefield. Yeah, horse archers are hard to catch. Our mounted crossbowmen are not as fast. But we've killed a few on the hoof, so we've outnumbered them. Here comes the assault. Let's go down here and fight those spearmen. Let's go just charging down. We've got some swordsmen who are going to be really nice in this. And this is where the malicious sergeants also can play a role. Catch the spearmen there. Keep my general out of it for now. Let's bring the Templars over to the left, I think. They get out of the trees. Alright, that sounds like a rout. Oh, of my men. Dang, alright, they routed the order foot. Alright, let's go get that Gulam bodyguard immediately. Alright, everybody throw in. We gotta bring the general down, I think. We're having some success, but not necessarily in the places that I would love. I think it's working out. Alright, order foot came back. Very nice. Got the general right here. And the Saracens running away. That's good. Okay, yeah. I think the armored spearmen will keep. Alright, I think we do want to push them to the edge because this is not a battle that I want to wait for wave after wave. Even though you can see some of our units were very fragile in their morale, I think it's still... We want to move them all up together, even the archers, and get right to the edge of the battlefield. Yeah, this could get a little dicey up here, fighting uphill through the trees, but I think we got the momentum. Gulam bodyguards have stopped to fight. Let's go ahead with our militia sergeants. That's where they can do well, cutting down armored units. We have cavalry. Good. Oh, our mounted crossbows did win, or at least routed the horse archers. This is a big battlefield, and I'm not sure where they're going to come from, but probably back there. You? Yeah, okay, so you can go up top of the hill too. Let's go after horse archers with them. Probably won't catch him, but can at least push him more effectively. And Royal Knights, yeah, okay. So that the king got away. He already had some negative morale traits. This is going to make that even worse, I would think. Pretty much everybody, we want to regroup. Okay, there are some now kind of behind us who have reformed, but we're coming up behind them too. Let's see where they go. Okay, are they going to let us connect? Yeah, kinda. We're going to get one guy. Great. Beautiful. So he's squeezed. There's those reinforcements. But we've got enough guys up here that we can make this hill the center of resistance if they're going to make another push. And they may not. They may have decided that that was it. The king is routed off the field. So let's get all of our spears right about there. Let's get all of you guys. We don't really need you doing that. All right, what are those camels going to do? Looks like they're going to go for it. Fortunately, I've got like somehow a unit with basically full arrows. really want to get the spearmen at least a couple ranks deep. All right, there come some peasants. All right, let's box them in. Yeah, they're holding out longer than I would like. Okay, yeah, you should come over here. More camels. I think at this point we can just bring our cavalry up to threaten, and that should be almost enough to rout them. And they're so close to the border that they're probably not going to come back. Now you gotta watch because they don't always come up the same spot. Like the reinforcements could start coming from the other side of this hill. But yeah, it looks like they're still trying to get up there, and that's it. 495 captives. So we've defended Antioch, and ransom refused. So that is great. A couple of important generals, I guess, and 493 others. So that's a pretty significant loss for the Turks in the area. And Jeancourt has achieved his 3rd rank. So yeah, we're going to want to get him a princess to increase his loyalty. All right, the Italians want an alliance. I'm not sure. Still not, because we've got such a long border with the Germans. Okay, so another rejected ceasefire attempt from the Egyptians. And this is the Byzantines. Yeah, this is very interesting. I'll absolutely take it. Although, it's going to ruin our... Oh, shoot. That would have been really cool, to marry a Byzantine princess. This is our, 17 or 18-year-old heir. And he's unmarried, and of course it would be great to get him a wife in this way, but I'm afraid of the Germans. They're doing quite well. So we're going to say no to that for now. Okay, keep an eye on him, secret blackmailer. So, we've got 2,000 in the bank. We're making almost 600. And we didn't start building even anything in Antioch, and that's, I guess, just as well. All right, let's take a look here. Sultan Selim II. Doubtful courage, -6 morale. There are serious doubts about his courage in the face of the enemy. Reports of him screaming like a girl as he departed the field are not too exaggerated. His men are not inspired. -6. That's amazing. And he's only 30, so they're going to be stuck with this guy for a while. Weak attacker as well. So, again, I'm not going to be super aggressive around here. I just want to build in my coastal provinces and, maybe, gosh, start getting some trade. So I don't care too much about conquering everything. Even Edessa is kind of a secondary consideration. What I want to see is kind of how well the Byzantines are doing with regard to the Turks. So maybe what we'll do is we'll get our other emissary going over to, like, Trebizond. I think we've got a princess coming out this way, too. Okay, but yes, our other princess verifies that Navarre is held pretty strongly by the Spanish. They don't have a lot of good stuff, but they've got enough to, you know, intimidate the neighbors. But that, you know, setting the crack de Chevalier up is like our last kind of big expense, at least for the moment. Look at our objectives again. This is Citadel in Tripoli. We need to build this before 1200. And that's it. Notre Dame Cathedral, we've got until 1250. So we've got 95 turns. All kinds of time for that. That's a cathedral in Ile-de-France. And we can't build a cathedral here yet. I think that's going to require a citadel. But again, we can't even afford it, so I'm going to wait. But we could start thinking about other things. And I think that it is long past time that we started investing a little bit in a relatively peaceful part of the world, which is our homelands, particularly Flanders, because this is making us 99 a turn with just a trading post, and that's great. But if we put a single ship here, that's going to be 99 here, and then, you know, we're going to be trading with Normandy, and we're going to be trading with Wessex. Well, actually, let's check that out. Yeah, we're going to be trading with both of them. We won't be trading wool, because Wessex already makes that. And Normandy, actually, we're going to be trading all of our stuff with Normandy. Although we already border them, so I'm not sure if we're going to get extra sea trade with them because of the port. I think so. But I think it is absolutely worth it to build just a bark here. And then we can build one more and then get 3 more provinces that we trade with. 3 more ports in the North Sea. And it might even be worth thinking about going up towards the Baltic. Maybe it's a little early for that. But I think 2 ships. And to help protect that, let's go with a keep and curtain wall in Flanders. Just 200 florins takes a couple of years. But yeah, I think it's the right move to just try to be peaceful up here and not antagonize the Germans. They're excommunicated at the moment. And they'd probably be a pretty big target. So, like, we could take them without, you know, incurring papal displeasure, even if they were not excommunicated. But still, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so that's our economic investment. 15 years to go. Let's just take another look at our Jeancourt. Okay, no traits still. He's very pious, but he's not very loyal. And then this guy, Richard Sayset. Alright, sadly, you're going to have to move somewhere. Four is okay, but really kind of on the borderline. Let's see, maybe we can, Nope. Alright, times are tough. Times are tough for loyalty around here. Alright, maybe we can have you guys... Actually, that works out quite nicely. So, yes, much better there. And we'll get a wife for Sir Jeancourt. But I think that is all we're going to accomplish here. Alright, no counterattacks. Great. I'm a little concerned about exactly where to spend cash at the moment, because we do have, you know, quite a standoff here, really, and any successful attack would be enough to render building projects, you know, incomplete. So if the Turks decide to go for Tripoli, of course that's a problem, but looking at what they have, I don't think it's terribly threatening. Like a couple units of Saracen infantry. It's really an army that we've just fought, essentially, except here we do have a better general. And, you know, more archers. What I'd like, though, is some infantry. So let's invest a bit into Palestine. We'll go for the town watch, which we're going to need for any kind of building anyway. And then we won't build anything else beyond that, because we need to save up so that we can, you know, do a keep and things pretty comfortably. Palestine is eventually going to become my chapter house province, hopefully. And get Crusades coming out of there with Templars, but it looks like the Turks moved down a good general to Syria. So, yes, here he is. Orhan al-Mutasim. Skilled attacker, brave beyond belief, but an unhinged loon. So that cancels out the morale bonus from brave beyond belief. But he is still a skilled attacker. He's got 4 stars. He'll have 5 if he's attacking. So the question is, where are they going to attack? If they attack Antioch, great. I'll bleed them there. I'll even, you know, lose it again. That's not the end of the world. I think, though, let's yes, invest even in more Hobilars. This is the nearest thing to spears I can get, so let's do it. They're pretty cheap to hire, actually, 112. And you are too, so let's get a little in debt for these 2 units. And this is all, you know, for Tripoli. Okay, so our princess has arrived in Rum. It looks pretty weak. I mean, it could simply be that the Turks are bringing down units in anticipation of an attack by me. That's certainly what I would do. Okay, Crusade from England, and it bypassed us. That's great. But it looks like they're attacking the Germans. Oh, interesting. Okay, Aragonese attacked into Anjou, which seems like suicide, so they've thought better of that. And heir matures, Prince Charles. We get another one. That's another mouth to feed, another royal mouth. Wow, okay, Crusade to Genoa. This must be a German province. And Crétin de Troyes, which I'm sure I mangled there in pronunciation, but this is one of the early Arthurian compilers and retellers. So minus 10% zeal in all of France. I do wish that, like, some of these were a little better. You've got some traits that are like, you know, very educated or philosophically inclined, and they're just like bad for acumen or things like that, or bad for piety, right? Some of these things which you're like, oh, that's cool. It's like not so great. Maybe it's great in the sense that if another crusade passes through here, they're gonna suck up fewer of my troops, but you know, it doesn't really do a whole lot for me. Give me something else, like you know, influence for the French king or something. I don't know. All right. Oh, this is a really tough choice. Wow. This could be extremely monumental. I've got to decide between the Germans and the English. The English seem like the far weaker power, and they certainly are in the sense that, you know, they don't have anything in Wessex, they don't have anything in Normandy, but their armies in Anjou could hit me everywhere. They could hit me in Brittany, in Toulouse, and in Ile-de-France, and I'm not equipped really in any of those places. Aragon, meanwhile, has inexplicably been building up forces. They're even building a fort in Aquitaine. They don't look like they're going to lose it. I know that the English have this war with Aquitaine, which means that they're probably going to be pretty occupied with that. But on the other hand, it would certainly make life a lot easier for them if I wasn't around. So dropping the alliance might be an excuse for them to take Flanders, and I'm not ready to hold out against that. I think it's safer in this case to lose the German alliance, because the Germans, I know, have lots of problems. And they've got, like, yeah, they're at war with the Pope. They're at war with the Italians, who own like half of Germany. And they're at war with the Turks and the Byzantines. I don't know why they're still at war with the Byzantines. So I think I'm going to lose the German alliance. Do I wish to remain allied to the Germans? No. All right, Prince Charles, materialist, killer instinct. Both awesome traits. All right, devout is fine. Silver-tongued is good for a lord. And utterly fearless. Awesome. So again, we were not attacked. That's, again, awesome news. And we're still making about 500, which is also a little surprising. All right, they haven't really changed much in terms of their composition, though. Where's the 3-star general go? He must have, maybe he moved off to Armenia. Okay, interesting. Yeah, there was a 4-star general, but anyway, he's gone. And are the Turks? Yeah, the Turks are at war with the Byzantines. The Turks are at war with a lot of people. And there's probably simply a German crusade withering away up here, like in Bulgaria. But I would think that the Byzantines would be pressing some of this advantage that I've created, right? Because all the Turkish army is down in Syria. Nevertheless, we'll wait. Okay, Palestine has finished the town watch. That's going to suppress mercenaries a little bit, but we got to get some other stuff here. We can't rely only on mercs. Nubian Spearmen, I could go for them. Allen Mercenary Cavalry, I'll be damned. You never see this unit. When you play the Byzantines, you start off with a unit in the early period of Allen Mercenary Cavalry. They are, like, supposedly a Byzantine-specific unit, but they're really just a merc unit. And I don't think I've ever seen them as the Byzantines in the merc pool, but here they are. I mean, these are some of the fastest cav in the game, or at least they're the fastest cav that I can train, probably. But 100 support costs? I don't think so. Alright, we could go for spears, we could go for bows. It might be nice just to be able to train archers, because we've got 1, 2, 3... We've got like 4 units here, but we don't have that many everywhere. 1, 2, 3... and a half, 4. So archers are going to be important. So yeah, we'll just do that. So no longer allied with the Germans. Let's check out our heirs. Prince Louis, he is the heir apparent, 22 years old, and Charles, his younger brother, also looking awesome. In fact, if anything, maybe a little better than his older brother, but very loyal. So this is good to have. Maybe I'll put you in Flanders just in case the Germans get ideas. I mean, they could take it if they wanted it. This is the sad thing. Let's end the year. We have our 1 ship out in the English Channel. There go the Byzantines into Rum. The Turks withdraw. Great. Now that is going to have the side effect, unfortunately, of just piling up all the Turkish troops in Syria. Not exactly what I want. Another heir, Prince Henri, and Hildegard von Bingen. +1 health in Germany. Now, I don't know what this means. +1 health. But if you do know, let me know. Alright, we're starting to get some bad traits here. Chinless Wonder. Well, he's pretty far down the line. So I'm not too concerned. Maybe we can just put you in Champagne. Okay, and here, yeah, we'll go with another ship. That's 700. That's more than we're making. But I think by the time we put it up in the North Sea, that'll be good. Now, you guys, it's interesting. They're just sitting in Friesland, although they do have an army here. Not much. This could be an opportunity, right? For us, maybe for the Germans, maybe for somebody else. Let's take this Princess Constance and let's bring her to Franconia to see what's going on there. And the King of Spain is up here. What's going on in Castile? I wonder if they're doing badly. Okay, here's a civil war. All right, Sir Orhan al-Mutasim. This was the 4-star general, and he has gone in with the rebels. Maybe he's even like the leader of the rebels. There's a little crown here, which, yeah, that would be him. Sir Suleiman Ghazi. He was a prince, or an uncle or something, but, yeah. So, this is the Civil War. And Edessa, too? Oh, man. Alright, I think we want to go, probably go for a keep next in Palestine. These Vikings just sitting here in the Merc queue taunting me. But yeah, we're doing a ship. We'll let that stand. And maybe I should try peace with the Turks, or maybe I should wait. Yeah, the Byzantines are capitalizing, which is fine. Alright, we've got an assassin about, and he's in Georgia, and I don't know if there's border forts here or not. If there are border forts there, that could indicate that the assassin might be Byzantine, right? Otherwise, it'd be typically tough for an assassin to move through a border fort province. But anyway, that's unfortunate. So the English are retreating, but what about their crusade? And again, the Aragonese threw absolutely everything into Anjou, but withdrew at the last second. In Edessa, the rebels are going to take it. Okay. So yeah, now there's only 2 stacks here. So the Turks must have sent something somewhere. Let's move the princess. Well, actually, let's leave her here for a couple of turns. Maybe we'll see if that resolves. No border forts here, so this guy's potentially pretty vulnerable. Let's move him to Rum. Okay, here's some Armenian heavy cav. Alright, Boyer's done in Palestine, so now we decide. I think I'm going to go for it. I think the keep is all you need to get a chapter house. So that's like half of our current cash pool, and it just looks like Aragon is getting stronger and stronger. So that crusade, the English crusade, is kind of gone. I don't know where it went. Maybe it's moved on to somewhere to Germany, or maybe it's ended. And the king here, King Richard, is potentially going to lose some influence if that crusade fails. So it looks like the Germans are pretty confident that I'm not going to backstab them or attack them in Lorraine, because they absolutely emptied it. Okay. Brave beyond belief, Lord Amiot. Okay, nothing in Franconia. Let's go up to Saxony, I guess. Friesland looks pretty strong. For being excommunicated, the Germans are doing a fantastic job. They have not imploded, despite losing a lot of ground, and their generals look very loyal. It's pretty unusual. Alright, so I think the Byzantines are going to keep Armenia and maybe Rum, we'll see. But Syria looks so vulnerable. Alright, this is very good news for us. right, one more turn. So what that means is we can move this ship up to the North Sea. Upkeep is 20, and that kind of stinks because that's going to go to like 40 or 60. But I think that's fine, and then we're going to get some actual trade going here. Oh, their crusade still exists. What? Wow, I forgot that the Germans can attack. We get another emissary killed. I forgot that the Germans could move in Anjou. That was pretty terrifying to see those black armies all of a sudden, like in the middle of what I consider my theater. But yeah, they can go from Burgundy right up to Anjou. So that's interesting. Franconia, that crusade is still alive. So the English crusade is going to move down to Genoa. Wow. And Anjou is a stronghold of the English. No one can take it. And we've somehow got the strongest military. Well, it's all those crusades, actually. Oh, very sad. Joncourt. Drinker, -1 command. Secret fanatic, that's okay. And blackmailer is not good. Let's check his loyalty. It's actually fine. Alright, so we know now that this is a very, very active frontier between the Aragonese and the Germans. They have not teamed up yet. Maybe they will and drive out the English, and then that would be a big concern. But it looks like the English actually took Saxony for like a year, but the Germans are going to take it back. So we'll just keep moving down here. I want to move my princess down to Genoa to see if anything's going to show up there. But yeah, in the next episode, we're going to just keep building. Tripoli, we're about halfway. We are exactly halfway there. 8 more years, and then the Citadel will be finished. It'll be 1170, and that'll be great to have that done. Then we can start thinking where we want to spend our resources, like building up Antioch again for trade. And in fact, we can afford to do that right now. Our income has gone up a tiny bit now that we have a ship in the North Sea. We've got 670 instead of 5-something. Looking at that, you can see that the green is where our ships are located and there are no sort of enemies. Orange or yellow is like where, I don't know, there are ships that we don't own, but they're also not bad guys. And so, who knows? I guess there's just nothing up here, right? So we could consider expanding this, but at present there's not a lot of incentive to do that. If I got a port in Brittany, we could consider linking that up down to northern Spain, and it might be good to see what's going on there because I'm kind of in the dark. I'm not sure how the whole war between Spain and the Almohads is going, but I do know that there is a big war brewing here for central France, and I have got to start to turn my attention to that unless I want to be only a crusader state, which could be a fun way to play, but not the way I want things to end up. So thanks for joining me on this. Hope you will stick around for the next episode. Take care until then.